Hi there. This is Jodilly Tan, and I'm avoiding a legal snag by telling people they're being recorded. Hello, person. This is Rachel Ross. Yes, Rachel. This is the loved one's confessional. All that we've really been told is that, like, you just confess and then the loved ones have questions. I just feel so unfortunate because you have the distinction of being here for the live night number 4 confessional, where 3 people got sent home. So, whew, it'll be big. But, so to start from the top, going into the live night with the 9 of us, um, the last thing that I told you, which you, I mean the audience, was that I wanted to go for Zach, but Jordan did not want to do that. And I was getting frustrated because I was like, if Jordan doesn't want to go for Zach, then there's like no way to convince him, you know? But ultimately, I got a lucky break when Scott was able to. Scott told Jordan that Zach was pushing his name. And that sort of immediately turned Jordan off of keeping Zach, which I do think was quite shocking because I don't know if Zach realized it or not, but Jordan was really in Zach's corner. So to hear that, it was kind of like a sign from above in a way. And thankfully, we were able to rally the votes against Zach. And Zach going home in the first cut of the live night was expected. So thankfully, we started out on a good note. Looking back at it, I do feel like Zach was probably the one unassociated player in terms of like, Zach was probably the one unassociated player in terms of uh, being on a side. I think Zach's side kind of evaporated and he was the last one of his side to still be in. And since the rest of the live night turned into turf war, that I imagine that ultimately Zach going was going to be a great idea for one side and a bad idea for the other. In hindsight, I do think it was a good idea for my side. Thank you. So, even though Zach is wonderful and experienced and all that, I do think it was Zach's time to go. And going into the final 8, it was definitely, it seemed a little too cut and dry to be able to just say Brian and Brian goes. But ultimately, throughout it all, um, um, sorry, today has been really long. It's taking me a second. But so what happened is that the 4 of us of good fortune, Travis, Jordan, Scott, and I, were supposed to vote for Brian, and Brian was supposed to go. However, unbeknownst to us, Brian did have the idol. Well, unbeknownst to some of us, Brian played it on himself, and it ended up being 2 votes for Jordan and 1 vote for Travis. And to me, it immediately struck me weird because we had just done touchy subjects, and Jordan was the person that was being voted as doesn't deserve to be here, the weakest link, never knows what's going on. So to me, the fact that the 3 of them had split and they split it on split it on Jordan with the majority was very strange to me. It really, really was. But based on some of the information that I was given recently, and by recently I mean today, apparently Travis used his vote steal on Corey and voted for Brian, which means that Scott, according to Travis, voted out Jordan. And that's a bit of a shocker to me. I just feel like overall, Scott's game has been advertising himself as a weaker player. And then when he makes these decisions, that he's so sorry and he's so emotional and oh goodness me. And I feel like Scott has not approached me and told me that that's what happened, but I do tend to believe Travis a bit more just because Scott does seem to. I feel like I've intended to play the same game that I feel Scott is playing now. It's just that I feel like Scott has so much extra ammo to do it due to the fact that he has the pregame relationships to do so. And um, it's unfortunate, but you know what? I don't think Scott wants me to be the one to go. I really don't. And that kind of plays into the next vote. But Jordan going it was a heartbreaker, you know. I knew at some point I did want Jordan to go. And I had been planting seeds with people to go for Jordan sooner rather than later. It was unfortunate to see his positivity and his smile and his daily affirmations go. You know, Jordan is a great person. And I feel so horrible that he left on a challenge where everyone was like bashing on him, you know? But we're definitely going to be friends after. The JJK reunion of Jordan, Jodilly, and Kira is definitely still in full effect. We're still going to, I have to carry on for the both of them now. So fingers crossed. And then we get to the third elimination. Ugh. Oh, jeez Louise. This third elimination was a mess. When Travis won the immunity and he gave it to Scott, in my mind, like I was like, oh my god, it's over, you know? It's over. I thought there's no way the other three are gonna keep me over. There's no way Brian, Corey, and Isaiah are gonna keep me over each other, you know? And on top of that, if Travis or Scott flip, I'm screwed, you know? And it came very close, but I did happen to stay, you know, it came down to a 3-3 tie, and thankfully everyone flipped in the revote because they didn't want to go to Rex. Literally, that twist of Travis and Scott both being immune due to the immunity challenge saved my game because I don't know if people were going to be willing to go to Rex for me. And with Travis and Scott both being immune, it just felt perfectly tranquil, you know? And ultimately, I just feel so grateful to still be in. Of course, it was hard with Isaiah mouthing off about, oh, I'm gonna be the winner. Oh, Jodilly and Travis have the two best chances to win. Scott, you are at the bottom. That's what you are at. You know, to hear Isaiah doing all of that was very shaky bakey. But thankfully, even though I don't feel like my input necessarily changed much in Scott's decision, thankfully Scott chose me to stay. Scott told me afterwards that he was never going to flip on me and there was no way he was ever going to do that. And I don't believe him for a second. No, I personally don't. I do think Scott took that full time, the full minute, the full round to assess his options of whether keeping me was best for him or if keeping Isaiah was best for him. And of course, after the trade bowl, Scott was saying these things of like, Isaiah had said my name multiple times. Wibbity-boo. What are you thinking? What? I would never keep Isaiah. And Jodilly, you've been so true. But I'm sorry. Those stories he tells about his brother and how his brother tells such a cutthroat game, I don't believe the apple could fall that far from the tree. And I feel like, Scott, I came this close to going home. I genuinely, genuinely think that. I really do. I just, anything that was affirmation to me that what I've been doing leading up to this point, I never expected to be at a tribal and I'm looking across at the table and it's you or it's me. I never expected to be in that position. And to return from that position victorious, it is just beyond my wildest dreams. Well, not beyond my wildest dreams, but it was a really invigorating feeling to know that the work that I have put in has come to fruition and I'm in the top 5. Oh my god.
Winner.
Winner! I it means so much for me to be in this final 5 in this position. I thought for sure once Tim went home the second week, I was like, oh my God, I'm probably not long for this game. And I, progressing through this competition on my own pretty much, I wasn't entirely sure if I could do it, you know? And being able to make it here to this huge landmark, to this huge monument, it's a great feeling. But I also know I am nowhere near done with my work. I feel like even though Travis Scott and I voted together to say that Brian and Corey are the minority and we're leaving it, that is not something I have a lot of hope in. The good news is that Scott won the immunity. I do think that if Scott were to flip, there's a lot more reasons for Scott to flip on Travis than to flip on me. However, ideally, I would like Brian or Corey to go home this round. And I just hope we can keep Scott's ducks in a row. I'm starting to get the sinking sensation, unfortunately, that out of the five of us, that maybe I have the weakest game to present to a jury. And that's it's hard to admit that, but ultimately the game is not done. And my strategy this season has been to get players to underestimate what I'm willing to do by presenting myself as a very gentle soul, so that when I do need to make the decisions that I need to make, that I am able to execute them and not be doubted for them. I want to be here. I want to continue onward. And I think Scott knows that I would take him to the final two. And today I got Travis to say to me that he's not writing my name down at all for the rest of the game. And I was like, really? Because I did not expect Travis to want to go to the finals with me, but hallelujah. Um, but at the same time, it was kind of like, oh, do you guys really think I'm the weakest? Oh, but you know what? I'll be weak. If I'm weak, I'll be weak. But I will be in the final two. You hear me? I'm speaking it into existence.
You
Okay,
will.
I want to be that person. Between Brian and Corey, I do want to keep my relationship up with them. If at any way I can get them to vote for Travis and not for me, like, I'm not going to go up to them and be like, vote for Travis. Ding! I think you're in the minority, but just vote for Travis anyways. That's not what I'm going to do in my personal life. But if I can just remind them that Travis has won all these competitions and remind them that I'm filled with good energy and that I was talking with them all throughout the live night, even though I knew we weren't going to be going the same direction. If I can just convince them to let me go through one more, preferably with no votes to my name, then I'm in the top four, and that would be amazing. At the top of this round, I thought there was no chance at all that I was leaving. But now, after the conversations I've had today, I definitely can see the path in which that could happen. But I'm going to be doing anything and everything in my power to prevent that because I want to be here. I mean, look at the memory wall. I'm already in the middle. You can't get rid of the middle picture, then the whole thing caves in, and that just wouldn't make sense at all. No. But whether whoever goes, no matter how this turns out, all I know is that I want to be in this seat come next week. The end game is coming, and I want to be there to meet it. No, we are in the end game. We are literally in the end game, and so it's been a minute. It's been a minute since Ascendance is a huge game, and to make it to this point, I'm just like, yoga breaths, please. But ultimately, I've got some work to do. I've got some people to chat up, but I am so willing to do that. I don't want to go. No, at all. I don't want to go at all. So fingers crossed. Let me be in the top four. Let me be there.
I don't even know if I have like good questions.
That's okay. Honestly, I just if I me just talking to camera is very that's what I do.
Well, like you explained everything that I was gonna ask.
Oh,
Um. Hmm.
Oh, we
When?
didn't even talk about the challenge. The challenge
Oh,
was fun. It turns out I am the worst guesser in the world. It was
that's okay.
literally Rachel and I when I gave clues to Rachel, like our highest number was three. Like I think it was 2, 2, 3, 2, 1, which is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So like I feel like that was a good solid score. But and then I went and I was guessing and I went to the circus. So
It's okay.
I tried my best. I really, really did.
That's all we could ask.
Yeah. I
Um.
I've been
Hmm.
notoriously bad at challenges this season, unfortunately. I've been really bad at them, but
But you did not get last.
I didn't. I was super proud of myself for that. I really was. The Ascendant's main chat ended. The main call, the chat,
The call
the
in the main
call,
chat.
the call in the main chat ended. That's what I mean to say. I was terrified to leave that call because it was just Scott, just Corey, and just Brian. And I mean, I don't want to leave the three of them together. Like, Scott could be flipped if I'm not on him at all times, but I wasn't able to do that because Travis wanted to call, and I was, "Oh." If anything, I just really, 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 really hope that Scott ideally sticks with us, votes out Corey or Brian, and just is good. But there are no guarantees. There are none. There are zero guarantees. And I don't want to just sit and let Scott be the swing vote. I respect the swing vote game. I feel like most of the time I end up being a swing vote at some point or other in my life in a game, but like at this point I have a side. I want to get to the final three with Travis and with Scott because I think my best chances to win are against those two. That's what I think in my personal life. So if Scott takes away the meat from my bacon, or if he goes after me, I'm gonna be devastated. But this is all a part of the work. This is all a part of the game. So I just want to make sure Travis says he feels confident Scott is still with us, but I want to have that conversation for myself because I do think if Scott were to flip it would be on Travis. And maybe Scott will tell me something he wouldn't tell Travis, you know? It's nerve wracking. Can I just skip to the end and win? Oh, jeez. But yeah, that was me talking about the challenge. Yay! Oh, not the ear, not the beard. Oh no. All right,
So who would you say if you had to rank the final five in like your thoughts on their ability to win at this point, what would it be?
Brian. Oh, not you, not my finger blending in. Take two. Brian, Corey, Travis, and I'm gonna say Scott and I are on the same page.
Okay.
I think Scott has made a lot more moves, but I think that people have been left bitter by the moves that he's made. And I think maybe I have not made the most moves myself, but people know what my thinking was. They respect my game. And so I think we're there. But Travis has always been known as like a headmaster, whether that's true or not. And Brian and Corey are both perceived to be in the minority. So if they get to the end, I think the jury will just eat them up.
Okay. Um, I'm so bad at questions right now.
No, it's okay. It gives me time to show off my Gemini side. Two faces.
um, hmm. So do you feel like most people that are left would take you to the end?
No.
Oh,
I think Brian and Corey are taking each other.
okay.
But I
Do you feel like you would be like if either of them go? that you would be like next in line?
I think Scott would still be their best bet. I think they would gravitate towards Scott because I think they now see that I'm with Travis. So I think they would rather go with Scott. But they want Travis. They should want Travis out badly. So you know, I feel like at least I'm ahead of somebody. I do believe that Scott will take me to the final two, and I I am starting to believe that Travis is going to take me to the final two as well. I don't want to be dragged there. I want to be, these last couple rounds are so pivotal because I want to win the competitions that put me in the driver's seat to dictate where the rest of this game goes. So I want to survive this boat and I want to win both challenges so I can make those decisions for myself. So that's my answer, but that's also my intention moving forward.
Okay.
Oh, the pleasure principle.
So if you had it like completely your way from here on out, what would be your ideal like boot list?
Corey, Brian, I'm gonna say Travis third, and then Scott second, and I win. The reason why I put Travis behind Scott is because I think if I'm in the final two against Travis, my claim to the crown is going to be that Travis played a physical game but was not very well rounded. And I do feel like I was more well rounded, and that's how I would approach that. If I was in the final two with Scott, I think I would go with the fact that Scott flipped and dipped and twisted and turned, and people always knew that they could talk to me, one, that I would be very open about what I needed to be convinced to, and three, that openness is a lot harder to maintain rather than, it's easy to lie to people in this competition. You lie because you don't want the backlash of a decision or you want to mislead people. It's easy to dip into that. And I think there are elements to being truthful that are a lot more difficult to maintain. And I think that would be my pitch against Scott. And I think if Scott were to get to the final two with all these people that he's had a connection with, if I were against him, I could play that up and hopefully win. So I think at the moment I want to take Scott to the finals, but we really do have to see how the rest of these rounds play out. Yeah.
So you said Travis has played a very physical game. Do you think that that is something that the jury is going to like want to reward? Like, is that an important aspect of this game? Because I feel like, at least in my experience, like winning comps and making yourself safe is not always respected, and it can sometimes be seen as like you were just never vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. I do think a lot of people give Travis the credit of being the headmaster of his alliance. That's the other thing. I do think, well, it could be argued that Travis just had immunity. Um, the rounds that Travis had immunity, I do believe that if he didn't have it, he would be in danger a lot more. I think that's true. But the fact of the matter is that he also had people that were willing to go very, very hard for him. And that's very true. His gameplay is being, Isaiah seemed very complimentary of it on his way out, and he said that if the final two was Travis and Scott, that he's voting for Travis. Which I was like, okay, so first off, you really think Travis and Scott are taking each other, so you think I'm getting third? Okay, well, anyways, and two, that told me that like even though people could be mad at Travis, they're still going to respect him. So I don't think Travis, I don't think anyone in this cast is going to be an easy beat if I was in the final two with them. But I didn't come for an easy fight. I knew coming into this game it would be a battle. And I'm ready to let go and let God, you know? Shout out. Shout out Jesus.
um, cool. Well, my brain is out of questions.
Oh, that's fine. They say that we do a little wrap up thing, anyways, at the end of each of our confessionals. So, shout out to everybody in the BO. Shout out, you're amazing. Your hair looks great today. How are you? Shout out to the alumni chat. Hey, y'all. Y'all look amazing. How are you? Um, oh gosh, I really want to win. You guys, if I go home this week, I'm going to be crushed. I want to be here so bad, and I want to fight for this so bad. So best believe, no matter what comes tomorrow, I'm going to be trying to win. And shout out to Rachel Roth, the best loved one ever. Love you.
Or
You know,
something.
yeah, absolutely. Nicole gave her an invitation to season 9. So, guys, start adding her Skype contact now. Her Skype contact is Rachel Ra. Yes, yes, that's her. So it's time to add her to alliances. Yes. All right, we'll see you all later. Bye. Hopefully, I'll see you in the top 4. Bye.